A Diddy status hearing just revealed a lot of new details. We got them for you here. Welcome to Popcorn Planet. I am Andy Signore, and I'm here live with attorney John Witherspoon, and it's Kim is there as well. And we were going through our, thank goodness for Inner City Press, who's inside the courtroom because we're in New York. This case is in New York, rather, and we can't get cameras inside. We did have some cameras outside. The family did try to leave, and we saw there was a couple just people talking. Nothing really that interesting was said, but there was the family exiting hand in hand as they continue to defend their son/father. But inside the courtroom, levels of racism and a lot of devices were pulled. I want to go through this recap because it was a quick hearing, but Sean Combs was brought in through the side, holding cell door, tan pants and a shirt. He was smiling, hugging his lawyers, sit down with Tony Riccio, lawyer Alexandra Shapiro sits alone at the table behind. Drum roll, all rise. The matter of 542 versus Sean Combs. Mr. Combs' mother and his children traveled here from Florida and are seated behind me. Oh, nice. Like as if that's going to help. But there they were trying to help support. And I guess also, look, they don't get to see them now. These appearances are the only time they do get to see them. So there is that. The judge, what is this? AUSA means what, John?
Assistant United States Attorney.
There you go. Spouse is at my previous firm. I wanted to disclose. Okay, so they let that know. What about the speedy trial clock? Combs' lawyer, I do not agree that the speedy trial waiver is effective. We did not consent before Judge Carter. You've requested a trial in April or May of 2025. I can give you either month. May 5th, the trial will start, or I'll give you April if you want. We'll take May 5th. Obviously, the extra month will help. And he says that. There's a lot of discovery. How long will the government's case be? 3 weeks. But our investigation is ongoing, so there could be a superseding indictment. What does that mean, John?
That means that more people are going to come out of the woodwork potentially, and that there will be more information that comes out when they start to do further interviews and investigations and depositions and all of that type of thing. Basically means superseding that we have this initial indictment out there that's a 3-count indictment, and that we may decide we want to come along with
and add more to it.
And some additional counts and additional charges, et cetera, et cetera.
Got it. Okay. But there will be a defense case 1 week, I estimate. They only are going to give themselves a week of a rebuttal. Does that make sense?
Potentially, yes, because of course, when the prosecution puts on their case and as their is cross-examination of each witness and so forth, they're going to have opportunities to get some of their work done during the prosecution's case in chief.
And they get an extra week of extra time. Okay. Let's turn to discovery. We'll complete production by end of the year. Let's turn to our disputes. We are trying to keep them to a minimum. We have an active dialogue with the government. I don't want to have any disputes at the moment. Judge, that's fine. Ms. Johnson, anything else on discovery? On Monday, this was pretty revealing. We have 1 terabyte. We gave 1 terabyte a device they asked for first. There were 96 devices seized in March from LA, Miami, and his person at a private airport in Florida. We're going to get into the details of that in a second. We are extracting material over the next 30 days from the airport. So when they got him at the airport, 9 devices were seized. I'm going to come back to this, John and Kim, because this was a highlight for me. That was suspect. Was he trying to flee and fly with some of these devices? From Miami, they got 36 devices. 29 have been extracted. 17 will be produced in our next production. There were 51 seized from LA. 27 will be produced in our next production. Also, his phone. So those devices at the airport, which we thought maybe, no, it's not. That was separated. That was taken in as arrest in September. The subpoena returns. We are putting them in relatively database. The Brady material, defense sent us a Brady request. At the next conference, I'll ask about your progress. The investigation continues. We subpoenaed Combs Global. We are reviewing all the material for privilege. The filter team removes stuff out before even the case team sees it. For motions, I'll give till February 17th or before. Let's have the next discovery in December 18th at 2 p.m. Now, defendant's motion. This is where things got also interesting. They're asking for a gag order. The concern is that the agents have been leaking grand jury information and making other prejudicial statements. Now, this refers to them being sad that they leaked the Cassie tape. why did you show that I'm a monster and that I lied? Now I can't lie anymore. That's really what it feels like they're trying to complain about. And I'm sorry, I got no empathy for that. Absolutely absurd, but they are trying to make that a thing. The tape's not even really part of the case, but it does add to the credibility, and the fact that he lied about it, it's completely relevant. But they're out there trying to say that that wasn't supposed to come out. So Combs' lawyers, we told prosecutors your agents are leaking information to the press. It started again around the time of the arrest. The interim relief we were requesting is the gag order. It's like the local rule, the judge says. We ask that you defer. They are trying to exclude, this is now the prosecution, they're trying to exclude a damning piece of evidence. The press statements, they are not from the prosecution team. That is significant. We request you defer any ruling until you get our papers. We will, of course, not speak to the press. The order would prohibit any further leaking of information to the media, could be furnished to DHS agents. We have no problem affirming our obligation. They're like, look, we don't got a problem with that. We haven't done it. That's fine. We agree. But then they're like, we object to an order about future leaks. It should be reciprocal, meaning we don't want Diddy's team to do it either. Okay, draft one, I'll hear any objection. And now the prosecution says, the state, we have concerns about Diddy's statements, Diddy's lawyer statements. He basically accused us, the government, of engaging in a racist prosecution. It violates Rule 23. And sure enough, this was the argument that Diddy's lawyers were out there. They just want to take down a successful black man. Give me a break. I'll read a quote. Diddy's lawyer said they make this case as the takedown of a successful black man. The statements have been picked up. He should affirm his obligation. This should have been in the letter. Diddy's response, lawyer says, but I'll affirm my duty. So it's interesting because they were trying to call out the leaking, but prosecution and the state was very quick to come back with, nice try, you're doing it too. What's your reaction to that, John?
I think that's exactly right. Exactly right. Here's the other thing about not only keeping Diddy incarcerated, but imposing a potential gag order on the attorneys. You're also talking about in the same context as witness tampering. You also have to think about it in the context of potential contamination of a pool of jurors who might sit on this case. And you're probably familiar with cases that have been elsewhere where I think in the Michael Jackson case, there was a question about, well, should it be transferred out to Simi Valley, or where should we actually conduct this case? And the problem is that if so much information as a result of it being a high-profile trial gets out into the media, and people start to see it on TMZ or Entertainment Tonight or CBS News or whoever it is, and people start to form opinions about the case, then you've got a problem coming up with a jury pool that is going to be fair and unbiased. And again, that's another thing that the judge absolutely does not want to happen. So it's very much in the judge's interest, and it's very much the judge's preference that as little information get out into the media and into the ears of and into the eyes of potential jurors as possible.
Yeah, well said. I mean, it's going to be an issue. After that, they set a time of trial date, which we saw, but the next hearing date would be December 18th. No application for bail, so he's not getting bail this time. There's talk of whether he would still, they'd file that, but it didn't happen here. He will remain detained, and they were adjourned, and that was the case. I want to go back to those devices. Kim, I want to get your thoughts too, because 9 devices seized from the airport. What is your feelings there? That feels pretty odd. You made a point too, right? That there were accusations that they were trying to flee with drives. What do you think?
Yes, I do recall, I believe when Chris Todd did his interview, he said something to the effect of that there were hard drives that were flown out of the country at one point, which just, and I'm not saying that these two things are related, it's just kind of popped into my mind as something like, oh, that is kind of interesting. I think my biggest question would be with those devices taken at the airport, were they all specifically Diddy's, or were they of the entire entourage? Like what specifically were they? But it is concerning. That does seem like a high number of devices to be seized going on a flight. That's my opinion. I mean, I could be very wrong. It could be very out of touch. I don't know. But it does seem like a lot. It does seem like a lot.
John, what do you think? Does that seem high? I mean, I guess they could be having laptops with them. It could have been his team's laptops or family's laptops. What do you think?
Yeah, it could be laptops. It could be hard drives. It could be thumb drives. It could be SD cards. It could be cell phones. It could be SIM cards. the sky is the limit. It does not strike me that it is unreasonable to expect that they would have found 9 devices, whatever form those devices take. Can I just ask too? I'm not clear. I thought the 9 devices were seized when what was his the basketball player Brandon, the guy who went to
Kenny
Syracuse,
or whatever his name. Yeah. The
yeah,
deal, the mule.
I thought that was where the 9 devices were seized in his possession. Are we talking about a different episode
I mean,
at a
I guess
different airport?
maybe. I mean, what we have here is from the airport, 9 devices were seized. So I guess that could be through his crew. It could be.
Yeah, I don't think it's unreasonable to expect that they would have 9 devices. I mean, each little, doodad and bauble that they confiscate is going to be logged into it.
That's a good question.
It's a separate evidence bag.
All of his crew, like they can just take all their phones, like in that case, isn't it against Diddy, or is anybody who's with Diddy can also have their devices taken? Isn't it about Diddy's devices, or it's the whole family and anybody he associates with?
Well, it depends what was on a search warrant, and it depends on what was taken at the time of an arrest. It's conceivable that, when they did the arrest at the airport, at the Opa-locka airport, when Brandon, what's his name, was arrested, they may have seized things, and then they may have gone to a judge and said, you know what, judge, this is we think that there's potential evidentiary value of this material, and so we're going to request a search warrant for it, to search and seize. So it's conceivable that they might have gone to a judge a second time and gotten a second warrant. As far as I'm aware, there have not been so-called returns made public about exactly what they got on these search warrants. Everything that we've heard about is in the context of, well, a bunch of things here and a bunch of things there. I don't think we've seen any document that specifies with any degree of particularity what it was exactly that they took at either of the houses in LA or on Star Island. I think they've just sort of said, we've got X number of doodads, and have left it at that. So I'm sure we'll hear more about that at some point when more information becomes public.
Yeah, there'll be a lot more information to go through. This is only just getting started, but at the end of the day, interesting for me. 9 devices it does seem like a lot, but I guess if they're allowed to take it from multiple people, maybe not as much. But we're going to be getting lots more in, and Diddy is remaining in prison. He is now there until December is the next hearing, and the trial in May, which is coming up pretty fast. This May, guys, May 5th. Do you suspect that's going to get delayed again, John? I can't imagine that's going to stick. What do you think?
Well, again, it's going to depend on how much evidence they still have to unpack in terms of decrypting of drives and unlocking cell phones and all that type of thing. It's going to depend on the numbers of people that end up coming out of the woodwork, as I said before, and whose names might appear on a superseding indictment of some sort, where there are additional charges and additional accusations that are brought forth. I do think it's a relatively short period of time. Again, you got to consider the fact that the holidays, you've got basically close to a month's worth of holidays between Christmas and Thanksgiving and New Year's and everything else. Not that the attorneys are going to take all that time away from their desks, but it's a distraction. I mean, it's
and
not
he's in
like
prison.
They have,
it's not easy to do this case with their client in prison.
Exactly.
Not that I feel bad, but everybody deserves the right to this trial, and that's what's going to be fascinating. So we'll see what happens. That's the latest update from this hearing. Shout out and thanks to Inner City Press. You can go follow him and support him. I appreciate that he's always in there getting us updates that we can report. I wish we could be in the courtroom itself, but alas, we can't. We got a lot of you watching live and on the replay. Make sure you do me a favor. Can you make sure you're subscribing if you aren't already? Hit that subscribe button. Hit the bell to all alerts. Smash that also when you get notifications. You hit that thumbs up and leave your comments. Be part of our notification squad. And you can become a Planeteer as well. Make sure to support It's Kim on YouTube and John Witherspoon over on Instagram as well. Guys, you do not want to miss the full replay on that one. We learned a lot about white nail polish and Diddy's mom. And I don't know, you might want to skip it. I think you're not going to want to skip it. But that was this live. Holy moly, the full live is available to members on Patreon and YouTube members. Whoo, that was a doozy. Ha! Like I say always.
Hold on to your butts.